How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, do me a huge favor and go down and subscribe so we can hit 100,000 subscribers. In the last video, I gave you 5 reasons why I hate the Mustang GT, and the video was kind of hard to make, honestly. But in today's video, I'm going to give you 5 reasons that I love this car. 5 reasons are kind of not enough because there's a lot of different things and reasons why I do like this car. We have to move the Lexus in and the Mustang out. The Mustang does have some heat into the motor though. For the people who have been subscribed to the channel and have been waiting for another Lexus video, another video of me modding this car, I have another modification in the mail on the way that should be here by the end of this week. That mod kind of relates to the other one and you have to take apart the same things either way. So there isn't a point to do the first mod and then do the second mod when I could do both of them at the same time and make different videos, but it'd just be convenient for me because I'd only be taking the car apart once instead of twice. But the video is coming soon, so stay tuned. In the next week or so here, we should have 2 modification videos on the Lexus coming out. Well, this is my car, my 2019 Mustang GT. I've owned it for over a year at this point. I've driven in 12,000 miles plus. I don't want to say like the same things that everyone says about this car, you know, like the basic Mustang things, but that's a lot of the stuff that I love about the car, honestly. So I'm going to try to give you some different takes than what you would normally expect on a video like this, but at the same time, I can't not tell you some of the things that everyone says because it's the biggest thing and the biggest reasons why everyone loves this car. I think this first reason is pretty obvious, but I can't not say it. Just the sound of the motor. The Coyote sounds so good, especially with an exhaust on it. I've absolutely loved the sound of this car. You can argue that the Camaros might sound better. You can argue that the Challengers sound better. But for me, I love the sound of the Coyote, and it's something a little unique. With the right setup on the exhaust, the car absolutely screams. A lot of the setups that you get, if you straight pipe them, they don't sound good, but when it's done properly, it sounds amazing. I love the sound of my Roush Catback exhaust. I really want headers to make the car a little bit deeper, but with the Roush Catback system, I love the way this car sounds. It's not that super raspy tone that you get, but you get a little bit of the raspiness of the 5.0. But you get a low-end rumble from the car, which I love about it. While we're talking about the motor, I also have to talk about the power and the power potential that this car has. I know it's one of those things a lot of people know, but I feel like I have to address it. So I guess for the people who don't know what I'm talking about, the 5.0s are very capable motors from factory. There's not much you have to do in terms of internal work to the motor to get it to a high horsepower number, say around 800 horsepower. But in one of my shorts, I did say it is a downside because you do have to put a lot of money into the car to make a higher horsepower number than 500 horsepower. You can get to about 500 wheel horsepower, a little bit less than 500 wheel, like 480, 485, maybe even 490 to the wheels with intake, a E85 tune, and maybe even some headers. So let's just say on the low end, around 480 horsepower with full bolt-ons. Full bolt-ons will cost you, I mean, probably less than $5,000, which, considering the price of the car, is still a lot of money. But considering how much power you're getting about a 50 to 60 wheel horsepower jump from factory. But in order to get it higher than that, you have to boost the car. Honestly, there's things you can do, but if you want to hit that 700 wheel horsepower, 650 wheel horsepower mark, you got to boost the car. And most of the time it's supercharging. To get a full supercharger kit, it costs around $10,000, plus you got to do axles and maybe even a transmission upgrade. So it gets expensive very quickly. You'll be $10,000 in no time. So it is expensive, and that's why I said it was a downside. But it's also an upside because it does it so easily. A car like a Challenger or a Charger, those Hemis aren't really meant to be boosted. These cars have the potential to be boosted already there from the factory and can hold a high horsepower number without doing too much to the internal of the motor. Yes, it's going to cost you a little bit, but also you get a lot of horsepower gain and you get a lot of power for the money you're putting into the car. So for under $50,000, you can probably have a car with 700 wheel horsepower. But overall, this motor is really solid for someone who is looking to push some high horsepower numbers. But let's get on to the third point. Yes, this car is absolutely filthy. I hope the camera can kind of pick it up, how dirty the car is. That's because it's been raining non-stop. The third thing is going to be something you're not going to expect, and that's practicality. Yes, I just put practicality together with a sports car, but I've been daily driving this car and I've absolutely loved it. Like, I don't need back seats, I don't need to have more than one person, so for me, I don't need the space in the back. I've never wanted to have more space in this car. I've never asked for anything in this car. There's a couple small complaints I've had with like the technology and a couple things being a little weird. No car is perfect, and honestly, it is what it is, you know? Every car is gonna have a downside and something that starts bothering you after a while. But the Mustang is super easy to drive, and it also is fun to drive, so it makes you want to drive the car even more. But on top of that, I have plenty of space in the car. It's not something that's overly powerful, something that sucks too much gas to drive on a daily basis. You can get 18-19 miles to the gallon in this car. And for me, since I don't need more than one passenger, like pretty much ever when I drive this car, in reality, I've never actually said that I wished for more space. In some videos I would say that it is very hard and tight to fit in the back, but at the end of the day, that is not why I bought the car. If I needed rear seats, I would have bought a four-door car. It's something that I, wish that Ford did, but in reality, I honestly don't care. It's not something I need. But this car has the technology, it has Apple CarPlay, it has heated and cooled seats. The rev match on the downshift makes the car that much easier to drive. The seats are comfortable. I've driven, all the way down to Texas with this car, and I'm in Wisconsin, so it's about an 18-hour drive, and honestly didn't get too tired of the seats. It gets uncomfortable in whatever car you're driving at that point, but the Mustang, it's done pretty well, and I would say it's a great daily driver for someone who's looking for a two-seater sports car. So for me, it's been super practical and super daily drivable, and I haven't really had any complaints. Number 4, kind of a little bit of an obvious one again, but the stylistic element of the car, how Ford styled the car, and I think they did a very good job. The third generation, people say that the facelift they don't really like, with the kind of different front bumper and the different lights. I honestly don't mind this. I like this better because of the rear end. I like what they did with the rear end other than the diffuser. I like how the lights curve and just the overall facelift I'm a very big fan of, plus the extra power. Kept the same Mustang looks. They've kept it with the fastback, they've kept the lights. It's still very much a Mustang with just a modern day look to it. And it could be the last of its kind. It's the last naturally aspirated 5.0 V8 Mustang, or just naturally aspirated Mustang that we could get. Because after this, the potential of it going a hybrid is pretty high. Now, this next one could be seen as a positive or a negative, and that's how many Mustangs there are in the United States. There's quite a lot of Mustangs. Most of them are EcoBoosts. In my area, it's very rare to see another GT. From what I know, there's only 2 or maybe 3 other GTs in my whole county area. As far as S550s go, there might be a couple older ones. There's a lot of Mustang owners out there, and that makes it so there's a lot of Mustangs in the world. A lot of Americans know what a Mustang is. Whenever someone sees this car on the road, 9 out of 10 times, your mom will know what car this is. Your mom will know that this is a Mustang. And I think that's cool that there's a lot of other Mustangs and it's easily recognizable. Plus, there's a huge history behind them. Mustangs have been made for so long now. It's cool when you're cruising down the road and you see another 5.0 next to you and you're kind of just driving together. It's a cool experience, and you don't really get to see that very much. Like a car like this in my BMW, the chances of seeing one while I'm driving and cruising next to it is very low. It's cool that a lot of kids know what they are. Everyone knows what a Mustang is, and it's cool to see when you're just driving by, everyone's always like, rev it, this, that, because they know what it is. They can share the experience with it, and it's easily recognizable for the car it is. That is all I have for this video. If you guys did enjoy, do me a huge favor and go down and subscribe to my channel. Trying to hit 100,000 subscribers before the end of this summer, and I think we can make it happen. A lot of videos coming soon. We're waiting parts for the Lexus, waiting for the weather to kind of start open up again. Today's the first decent day for a couple of hours here. It's starting to rain already, but we'll get the BMW out, we'll go to Road America, do a bunch of cool stuff this summer, so stay tuned for all of that. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, but other than that, that is all I have for this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.